Hello, and welcome to my review of Alan Wake 2. Where do I even start with how fucking good this game is? Sure, the game has its problems, and we'll get into that, but my god, what this game does, it does well. Uh, First thing I want to say, the graphics, it is the best looking game I've ever played, hands down. The level, the level design, well, there's some level designs I don't like, I'll go into that, but the game design team and the art style of it and the art direction and just the graphically, it's one of the best games I've ever played. Like whenever you throw a flare, it's not just like a puff of red smoke. It's like it's like yellow, like bright orange. Everything's so dark, but like whenever you shoot an enemy, their blood is like nearly like neon red. Everything, the colors just pop in this game, and it's just so much. It's just such a cool looking game. And man, you see whenever you're in the dark place and you're walking through New York, absolute banger. It looks so good. The character models also look very very good. Uh, they're like very expressive, and you know, start the game off playing as a naked guy. It's pretty cool. But another thing, the combat in this game is peak. I'll just come out and say it. It's good, but there's not enough of it. I like it feels like the combat came second. It was well, the first game had too much enemies. This game has too little enemies. Like um sure, some parts of the game, like the Herald of Darkness, which I will get onto, and the other musical bit. Yes, there is two musical parts in this game, and I love them both. Have tons of enemies in it. And near the end of the game, they did realize that and started adding more enemies. But like during those like first half of the game, sometimes you'll go 20, 20 like 20, 25, 30 minutes without fighting an enemy once. And that was a bit annoying because I really like the combat, especially the way the guns sound and just the sound direction in general is so good. Normally in like horror games like Resident Evil or um, Silent Hill 2 remake that I'm playing through at the minute, the guns sound like wet farts. You'll fucking shoot them and there might as well be a silencer on them. But man, you shoot a shotgun in this and my god, it'll nearly blow the eardrums off you. Uh, and I did think some of the enemies were a bit lazily done. They're kind of just, they're just like the same enemy type. Well, they're the same models for enemies. Uh, Another thing, this game takes on a lot more of a survival horror route than an action horror route, which I fucking love. I think the first Alan Wake suffered from it being an absolute mess of gameplay. Watch my review on that if you want to see more about that. But this one takes on a lot more of a survival horror, and the focus is a lot more on horror. I thought that was a fantastic way to go. It was great. Uh, Now that's a good way to segue on to the story. So the story's amazing. I would argue it's better than the first one by a decent amount. That like even I love the first game, but I love the first game's story, and I just like the game in general. But the story in this one is so good. I do think the ending is very weak. Well, it's not very weak. It's still like a decent ending of what it is. But at the end, it's kind of what's going on, and it tells you. The first off, this game is a very meaty game. It took me around 17 hours, and if you're going maybe on like hard difficulty or something like that, it might take you 20, 25 hours. But at the end of the game, I'm not going to spoil anything. It's basically something happens, and then it's like play New Game Plus to get the rest of it, and you'll do that, and then you'll only get about an extra 10 minutes of cutscenes. It's just not really worth it, and I thought it was a bit of a cheap. I thought it was just a bit cheap. But this game is just flowing with creativity. I just can't help it enough. I think Remedy has done a great job. Uh, Even though I do think it suffers from Remedy not knowing how to do boss fights that well. The best boss fight in the game is mid at best. Um, and the map in this game is a lot bigger. It's not just a linear path. There's like for each character, well, for the two characters who I will get on to, they have three pretty big places to explore, and there's like a decent amount of things to do. Like there's like the loot boxes that you can like find a bunch of place. There is what else is there? There's like for sagas, but who I'll get on to. There is like nursery rhymes you can find, and you have to solve them. It's pretty cool. The story basically follows this. You are Saga, who is an FBI agent, which I already love that setup already. It's already giving me big long legs vibes. And Alan Wake, he's stuck in the dark place. He's doing his own thing. Who I've seen a lot of people complaining that he plays Saga too much, but I don't really see the problem. He plays them equally. I think I spent the game took me 17 hours, and I think I spent around 10 with Saga and like 7 with uh, Alan, which I don't mind. And uh, of course, you got Sam Lake being a massive hack, like always, just putting himself in out. Like there's literally a 20-minute like indie movie that is put on in one of the theaters, and he plays a role in it. He plays one of the second main characters in this game too. But yeah, the story is pretty good. I like Saga's bits because it made me feel like a cool fucking detective, and I liked how it was more grounded compared to Alan Wake's, and he had to go do his own thing. But everything's got its cool old thing. Like Saga, she is like a mind place where if you press the respective button on your controller, you can go into you can like do like I'm not sure what they're called. You know when like those like uh cop moves and they'll like stick like a fucking Polaroid on the wall and they'll like use like pins and shit to like stick it onto the wall. They do that, which I thought was pretty fun. There's a couple neat bits to do with that. Uh, Alan Alan Wake has this cool thing where he can where you have to find stuff throughout the environment to write something in. So like say you'll like go to a cutscene and it's like, oh, I was chased by the cult of words and shit like that, and then it'll like pop up you're in a room and then you can type that in and it'll completely change the layout of the room, and it's just fucking cool. I can't say anything more about it. Alan Wake also has this like cool thing where he can like he has like this like angel lamp and it can store light, and then you bring it to somewhere else, you can like fucking zap that light into another light and it completely changes the layout of the room too. It's just so creative. You can just tell the passion is fucking oozing from it. I loved every character. Man, it's just so much. It's just so good. It's just flowing. This is what games should be. While Alan Wake 2 is not perfect, I do think it has its problems that I have explained. I think this is what gaming should be going forward. No like live fucking garbage. Just pure passion for what they're making. This feels like Remedy's magnum opus. It does have many problems, like the ending, uh, the fucking boss fights, not having enough enemies. But you could just tell that everything went into this game that they had, and they did this on a double A budget. Is insane to me. Um, there's so many callbacks to the original, different games that Remedy has made. Like one of the DLCs, you play as Jesse from Control, or I haven't played Control yet. I am planning to though. But it's just flowing like characters who had barely like little to do. Well, not little. Thor and Odin play a big part of this game, and I fucking love those two. In the first game, they played a decent role. You go to like their farm and shit. But in this game, they play a massive role, and I love it. There's so many recalling characters. Just so many different. I just fucking love it. I don't know how to explain it, but it does have its problems. So I'm gonna have to take away a couple points from that. But you could just tell this is made with nothing but passion, and especially the art style and everything. It's one of the best looking games I've ever played. It has so much going for it, and this is what the pinnacle of gaming should be. Now, anyway, if I had to give this a score out of 10, I'd say it would be the best 9 out of 10 I've ever played. Well, it's getting a 9, but it is the best 9. It's the best 9 out of 10 I've ever played. It's so peak. And then, oh well, I won't explain much more because there's nothing really to explain, and it is kind of going in this spoiler territory. But anyway, if you like this review, you know what to do. Like, share, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.